Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Marketing with In-Depth Podcast, where I'm your host, Nathan Webster, and I'm excited to chop it up with you today. Today, for episode 206, I got a special guest in just a moment, but we're going to talk about some tips to help you monetize Google Ads because, y'all, it's a brand new game. 2024, I'm sure when you listen to this in 25, 26, 27, it's not even going to be accurate because Google keeps changing. Beep. So before we go into that, just a little bit of housekeeping. For all my worldwide listeners, thank you for tuning into the show. Thank you for rocking with me for all this time. I appreciate you, love you, keep sharing, and keep rating. Send those ratings and reviews. And for my first-time listeners, thank you for tuning into the show. Wherever you may be downloading, I appreciate you. So, without further ado, let's get into the meat and potatoes. I got a special guest. And my special guest, which I'm not going to steal his thunder, his name is John Horn, the CEO of Stubb Group. Welcome to the show, John.
Nathan, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, man. So you're going to drop some serious diamonds, man. Please tell the guests who you are and what you do.
All right, let's go mining. See if I can come up with some stuff. But yeah, no, in terms of who I am the CEO, like you said, of Stubb Group, and we're a digital advertising agency. So we work with all kinds of different businesses, large and small, local, national, everywhere in between, to help them connect with customers online and ultimately make money. And we use channels like Google Ads, which we'll talk about a lot today, as well as other channels like Facebook ads and Instagram ads and so forth. But ultimately, it's about how do we make those connections between customers and clients and do that in the most profitable way possible.
Now, I love for you listeners out there that he broke it down what he does. He runs a digital advertising agency. I run a marketing agency. Completely different in the same industry, but completely different. So please don't gloss over the details. So John, tell me, well, not tell me. Of course, y'all don't know I don't have any script. So, John, I want to learn a little about you, man. Tell me about your background. How'd you get into this?
Yeah, totally. So I've been doing this for close to a decade, actually over a decade at this point. And started back in the day. I did not start the company myself. It was started by two founders, and they brought me on as employee number one back in the day. So I've been here pretty much since day one. But really, the impetus behind starting the company at that point was seeing how many businesses were switching from traditional advertising over to digital advertising, and how many more needed to, because that's where customers were, because people were more and more using the internet. I mean, obviously, people are already using the internet a ton a decade ago, but not all the advertising had followed them per se. And so there were tons of businesses who needed help figuring out, how do we run ads online? How do we do it in a cost-effective way? And so there was an opportunity for us to come on board and help steward, those ad budgets on behalf of clients. And so we started bootstrapped things, figured it all out, brought on clients, ran our own advertising campaigns to get our own clients, and just grown over time, grown the team, try to bring on really, really smart people who understand the platforms really well and can work well with clients, and keep growing the client base that we are able to service as well.
Man, you said a whole lot in that, and I can't wait for you to unpack it. Well, congrats on being employee number one and rising to the top. So it kind of says a lot about entrepreneurship, starting a company, you being a master in your craft, and what that took 10 years ago. That's congrats, but obviously you just didn't wake up one day and know all this marketing stuff.
Every day is a new day, still learning, and that's one of the exciting things about the industry that we're in, is that it always changes so often. So, like you said in the intro, what was working last year is not necessarily working this year, and next year is going to be a whole new ball game as well. And so it's all about staying on top of things, testing, letting the data dictate what we do, and being adaptable to the markets.
So before you go into it, and I just let you run with it, because I want to make sure I let my listeners know exactly who you are and what you do. Where are you located at?
I am outside of San Antonio, Texas. So usually baking hot. Right now we're actually having a nice cool spring day at the moment as we're recording this. But yeah, usually in the oven that is Texas.
And so do you take your leads or you work with your clients locally, or you do this globally, internationally, nationally, or just regionally?
Yeah, we work globally. So we have a global team. We are remote as a company at this point. We used to have physical headquarters and then took everything remote. So we've got talent from all over the U.S. and globally as well, and clients all over the U.S. and globally as well.
Awesome. Awesome. So I just want to put that out there for you listeners. Do not think that you are bound to your physical location. Also, we are in a global workforce, a global economy, and folks are out there. Even though he's in Texas, good God, it is very affordable over there. He still does not have a physical headquarters. So, John, love to tell you, excuse me, I love for you to tell us. I was like, man, tell him, tell him what you got. Tell him what you got what you got for us, man.
Yeah. So let's talk about Google Ads and how to make Google Ads more profitable, because that's, I'd say, the number one question that businesses, small and large, are usually asking us when they reach out to Stubb Group is, hey, kind of here's our problems. We're not making as much money from Google as we want to. How do we make more money? That's the goal of every business, generally speaking. And so let me walk through, let's start out maybe with some of the most common pitfalls and mistakes that I see businesses making often when they reach out to us and we start talking with them. The first thing that I will say, it's kind of counterintuitive for some businesses. It's not about the ads, it's not even about the targeting. It's about the tracking side of things. It's about success. How are you measuring success? Because a lot of businesses, they'll take the approach of, throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. But the problem is they're not set up to see what sticks. They're putting money out there, they're running ads, they're targeting keywords, whatever the case may be, but they're not tracking to say, okay, here's where our leads are coming from. Here's what we're paying per lead. Or if it's an e-commerce business, here's where the orders are coming from, the return on ad spend, etc. And so when you're not tracking the success of your campaigns, you can't improve them. I mean, you can hopefully kind of guess and improve them maybe, but you can't really strategically optimize and improve. So the first thing that will often help businesses with when we start working with them is track everything. Track form submissions on your website, track phone calls coming from your campaigns, track orders, track chat messages, text messages, any way that people can communicate with you that is of value to you. Let's track that and track it back to the specific campaigns and keywords and ads, etc., that are driving those things. And tracking, it's not a perfect game. There's always going to be some gaps, but there's still a lot that you can track and then make great, inferences and decisions based upon that data. So that'll be my point number one. Track what you're doing with Google Ads. Then
And
I would say, yeah.
I
Go
just
ahead.
want to throw in there, no, not to, just to interject, y'all.
Yeah.
If, in other words, if you didn't get the tracking, it's data. Remember how many times I tell you it's about data? Get that data. Okay, go ahead, John.
No, I couldn't say it better. Data is so important. And it's also very important these days in running successful Google campaigns, because a lot of the most successful bidding strategies, basically the way that you can tell Google, here's what I can afford to pay for this type of click versus that type of click. A lot of them leverage automation that are looking at that data, saying, okay, here's what's converting into leads on my website. Based upon that and based upon those conversion rates, here's what I could afford to pay for these leads, and so forth and so on. And so that data can be crucial in actually not just reporting on the campaigns and making manual decisions, but also the automated management of the campaigns within the platforms. So super important. Another thing that I would say I often see is for businesses who are running what they call search campaigns. And for those listening who maybe think of Google only as google.com, an important distinction is Google has their hands in a lot of different places, and you can manage all of those things from the same place. So you can have a Google account running ads on Google Search. You can also run on YouTube. You can run on Google's display network, which basically means a lot of the websites that you go to and you see image ads or video ads, those are actually being served by Google. And you've even got Gmail and Google Maps and so forth. But search is what most people think about when they think about Google, and that's where a lot of businesses start, because that's kind of the low-hanging fruit. Hey, I know someone is looking for An accountant firm. I'm an accountant firm. Cool. That's relevant. Let's go after that. And so a lot of people will run search campaigns, which is super important, generally speaking, but they won't understand the nuances of what's called search terms. And this is going to be a very specific recommendation to those out there right now who are running campaigns. Go into your account, and if you're not already doing this regularly, go into your search terms report and see the actual words that people are typing in to trigger your ads. Because Google, they had this thing called keywords where you can tell Google, okay, my keyword is, accountant near me. Cool, that's awesome. Problem is, Google's not just going to serve that exact phrase, your ads. They're going to look at all sorts of different variations and synonyms and things. And so you might go into your search terms report and you might see completely irrelevant traffic that you're paying money for that Google is matching to your keywords. Great example of this, we had a moving and storage client who came to us, and we looked at their search terms before we started working together, did kind of a free consultation with them, and we saw, hey, your keywords are okay, but you're actually targeting, like, you're spending most of your money on people looking for freight forwarders, which has nothing to do with what they were doing. Google, thought it was similar to what they were doing. It's like moving and transportation, but completely irrelevant to them. And so we were able to save them a ton of money by adding what are called negative keywords to the campaigns to tell Google, don't show my ads for freight forwarders. I don't want to pay for that traffic. So that'd be my second point is really look at your search terms report as kind of the heart of your account to really understand what you're paying money for, and then to be able to add negative keywords and other optimizations to save wasted ad spend and really focus your money on the types of traffic that you want to receive.
And as you go into 3, which is this is really good. Y'all, he didn't start with a budget, but as he just ended that last one, what you don't want Google to do, which is, I've always said, you got to know your ideal customer avatar, client, customer, member, whoever you're searching out there for. You need to have a return on ad spend, that ROAS, which we've talked about. Like, do not just put money and give it to Google, because if you want to write a check, you can send it to NW and Associates, okay? Please just don't give the behemoth money just to give them money. So please, if you're not taking notes, rewind that and listen to John once again.
Yeah, Google loves money, and it is very, very easy to pay money to Google. So
they'll reward you for that too.
Exactly. Like, oh, thank you. Here's ways you can spend more money.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think the third thing I would go into is the importance of landing pages, or in other words, the place on your website you send traffic to. A lot of businesses, again, they're focused on the ad. Like, okay, we have got to have amazing ads and what people see in the ad. And you do want amazing ads. Ads are important.
Right.
But they're, a tiny fraction of the amount of time that someone's actually going to engage with you is the ad. The ad's just there to get them to click through to your website. And so you can have the most amazing ad possible, but you're sending them to your website that, looks like it was designed in 1999, or maybe the design's good, but it doesn't really tell people what you want them to do. It's like, oh, we're an accounting firm, but it doesn't say, hey, call us for your free audit so we can determine if we're a good fit to work together, et cetera, et cetera. You got to really tell people what you want them to do, provide things like reviews, credibility elements, make sure that they see that you are trustworthy, explain why you are better than competitors, better, what's your value proposition? Is it cost? Is it speed of service? Is it, trustworthiness and amount of time you've been in business? Whatever it is, you got to tell people that, because they're not going to go do the work to try and figure out those things. And your landing page is where you can communicate that, because most people often also, they're not going to go around your website looking at a bunch of pages. They're going to make a decision, generally speaking, upon the page that they reach, to either continue moving forward or click that back button and go back and click another ad. So don't get too caught up with the ads to the point where you forget that experience on your website is equally as important as the initial ad impression.
Facts. Ooh, these are good. I just want to throw in there, y'all. This is where please don't try to serve everyone. Because in Google, they only allow you to create one persona. I mean, you can do others, but you're going to have to pay for it. If you're on a budget, you probably need to go find some help. So, John, where can they find you? Just as you, I know you're not done. I just want to make sure for those that are like, okay, how can I get in contact with him?
Yeah, super easy. Our website, stubbgroup.com, would be the best place to go. And hopefully you'll see that we eat our own dog food, as we say. We have calls to action there. The primary one is we do a free consultation. Same thing that I mentioned that we did for that moving company, where we'll just take a look at, if you're doing advertising, we'll take a look at what you're doing and tell you if there's ways we think we can improve upon it. If you're not doing advertising, we'll kind of put a plan in place to say, hey, here's the opportunity we see. Here's how we'd go about it. And then we do all this work for you, so you don't have to remember all these mistakes and pitfalls. I will segue on that point though to say that the best relationships we have with clients and the best performance we're able to drive is when there is a close partnership between us and the client, because we're never going to understand, and no agency is ever going to understand your business as well as you do, your customers as well as you do as a business owner. Conversely, they're probably never going to understand the platforms as well as we do, just because that's what we spend all day doing and looking and have massive amounts of data. So we try to marry those things and have really close relationships where we're learning from the clients or from our clients about their business model, their clients, how are things going? How is the quality of the leads that we're driving? Like, oh, you know what? They're getting leads that they're looking for the right things, but they're not in the right area. They're outside of the client's geographic area they serve. Okay, cool. Well, now we need to change our geographic targeting. We need to exclude these areas or modify this. And it's all about constantly improving performance over time, because it's a very dynamic platform and dynamic market out there. I was having a conversation about this earlier today, actually, with somebody else, and I was kind of explaining to them how crazy the Google Ads auction is, in that every time you search for something on Google, there's, I think, about 70 million different signals behind the scene, some significant, some tiny, but tens of millions of signals that are combining together for Google to determine exactly what results, exactly which ads to show someone at any given time. And that's changing constantly as competitors enter and leave the auction, as different signals change and go up and down. And so there's no way that humans can look at all those things at once. I can't look at 70 million things and make a decision. Definitely can't do it a billion times a day. But you need humans who are shepherding the machine learning and the AI that are controlling those things. Because going back to what we talked about, where Google's really good at spending money, Google's AI, how they run their campaigns, it's very good at kind of making things exponential. So if you are doing well, have good campaigns that are generating money, you can drive to the moon with that. If you have campaigns that are wasting money, you can spend a lot of money very quickly, because Google's just exponentially saying, okay, this is what you want, let's get you more of this. And so you've got to have somebody who knows what they're doing, watching things, setting parameters, course correcting when the AI hallucinates and goes the wrong direction, to make sure that, like you said, you're not just cutting those checks to Google for no reason.
And John already stole my thunder, but I was going to say, I'm sure when you go to his website, you're going to be hit with a great landing page with some great CTAs. CTAs, he already said, call to actions. And those call to actions are going to take you on a merry-go-round of, hopefully, of where you see yourself not trying to get caught up in the minutia, because that's not your expertise. I tell folks all the time, you don't have to hire me. Just hire someone that knows what they're doing, because like he just said, you don't have access to the platforms. These platforms are tricky. Google doesn't do as much. Like Facebook, when they go down or X goes down, it break all your APIs, and it's extremely frustrating. If you're a baker, if you're a plumber, if you're a cook, you don't do that. Let the marketing go to the expert, because this is where, like, as John was saying, you don't have all the tools nor the expertise. And I'm only saying that to you to help you. Like, this podcast is free for you to download, for you to learn. Do not get caught up in this minutia, where John could take care of that for you. And I'm sure, John, you probably send out reports and have consultations along the way, and you adjust accordingly.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all about that two-way communication. So saying, hey, here's what we're seeing, here's what we're doing. What are you seeing in your business? And making sure you as a business owner or marketing manager, whatever your role is as you listen to this, making sure that you understand what's going on and what we're doing to improve things. But then also, like you said, Nathan, there's so much both minutia that we can take care of, as well as the really big important decisions that if you make the wrong decision or base it upon the wrong data, it's going to tank your profitability for your campaign. And so it's important to have at least advice, to have different perspectives. And one of the handy things about agencies in general is they're able to bring a lot of perspectives to things because they work with a lot of different businesses over a lot of different verticals and industries. And so they're able to say, you know what, here's the trends that we're seeing. Here's the patterns that we're seeing. Or, you know what, we saw this work really well over here. We think this will work very well in your case as well because you're a similar situation. And I love parlaying the good things that we learn to other clients and then saying, you know what, we tested this, it didn't work. Cool. Let's not test that elsewhere. We don't need to waste more money on that.
Yeah, no, that's dope. That's dope. I know we only got a couple of minutes. We're over time. We have some technical difficulties at first. But John, is there a last golden nugget or some things you want to wrap up as we wrap up this show?
Yeah, I would say just really, if let's say you're a small business that's listening to this, always put yourself in the shoes of the customer you're trying to reach when you're planning your advertising, your marketing, and think about, all right, what is the most important message we have to communicate in our ads? What's the most important message to communicate in our landing page, on our website? And it's not done then. Let's say they call us, they fill out a form, whatever. You're still selling that you got that process. All right, we got to be consistent and always focus on what is most important to solving your customer's pain point. And that is usually the difference between successful campaigns on any platform and campaigns that are wasting your money.
As Donald Miller would say, if you confuse, you lose. So do not do that to the customer. Oh my gosh, or your member, your patient, whomever you're serving, whoever your bread and butter is, I'm sure you don't want it to stop. So John, for the listeners out there, is there a best platform or a way for them to get in contact with you?
Yeah, LinkedIn would be a great one. You can pull up my name, John Horn, on there. Also, YouTube is a place where we put out a lot of free content, both big picture and nitty gritty related to Google Ads and other platforms. So check out Stubb Group on YouTube, subscribe to our channel there, and get lots of hopefully helpful and free information on there.
Absolutely. We'll make sure to put that in the show notes. Man, I just want to say thank you so much for dropping these diamonds. These are great. And I'm glad that I met you, and we got to have you back on the show.
That'd be awesome. Nathan, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so for you listeners out there, you know where you heard this first. Again, make sure you go check him out. Go subscribe to his channel. Go to his website. At the very least, give him a like. I mean, come on. But, y'all, this is free information that 10 years ago no one would tell you. So we're putting it out there. This is part of how we pay to play. Okay, so don't think you can upgrade on free, because that's not going to work very well for you in the long run. So make sure you reach out to him. If you don't want to reach out to me, anyway, just go find an expert that can help you scale, sustain, or sunset your company, whatever that looks like. But make sure you reach out to John. And for all you worldwide listeners for rocking with me, thank you so much for tuning in again. For my first-time listeners, thank you. I hope you enjoy the show. If you haven't already, please rate and leave a review so we can continue to climb the charts. We're not on the charts. Let me just say, we're not on the charts. So put us on the charts. So with that, I wish you nothing but the best. So dream big and Godspeed. I'm out.